are the most beautiful creatures in the whole world, black people. So my job is to make them more curious about where they came from and their own identity and pride in that identity.
You gotta go through it to get to it. Cutting corners isn't an option. In my early development, it was instilled within me to do work. Work from home, work at school. But one thing that wasn't talked much about is working on self. Well, that's not entirely true. What I mean is, my mom would state to stop doing dumb shit. But other than that, the self-improvement talks were from my grandmother. It was where I partially got my drive, aka the hustle. And I never witnessed my granny cutting corners at no time. And I watched her a lot. She always put in work, and from my view of things, was paid more than she weighed. Salute, Gussie Scott. In addition to the aforementioned facts, I learned that cutting corners has its place, but ultimately will cause one to have an outlook on life that's not conducive to longevity and fully becoming that person in their purpose. And here's an example. Living here in Chicago, potholes like crooked politicians are always present. At some point, someone either calls in the pothole or the city surveyors spot it and mark it for a fill-in, which is what I call cutting corners versus doing the whole street. Now, at this point, in the layman's mind, the thought is, why don't you just repair the whole street? To others, they're just going to patch it up, cut corners. They may, insert foreign items like a traffic horse or wood or something within the hole until someone can come and take care of it. And when they finally do address the pothole, all they do is use asphalt. Again, that to me is cutting corners. The same street that displayed many asphalt shortcut patch-ins will sometime soon just be redone entirely. Now, why not just do that from jump? There are positive reasons to do the whole thing fully and not waste resources on shortcuts. One may find other deficiencies on another part of the same street to rectify before the whole street is resurfaced, thus killing two birds with one stone. Yes, shortcuts seem to make things easier, but in hindsight hinder in other areas, such as in time and money. Ever wonder why and how a city, state, and country is in tremendous debt? Well, listeners, this is one or more ways bankruptcy occurs. Shortcuts. Again, I say shortcuts have their place, but they're not for everything. I appreciate the good, the bad, and the ugly of going through it to get to it. Whether it's personal or professional, and even in business. The grinding of iron on iron has a sharpening effect, and all in all helps one to understand what it takes to achieve a certain amount of success, if any. Using my own personal experiences, I can recall my first venture of entrepreneurship where I cleaned other people's messes within their abodes. It took time, energy, and other various efforts as I was working a job too, and a massive amount of patience to see the desired goal. There's been times where my spirit wasn't into doing what must be done. That, ladies and gents, is the most difficult part of anything. We must overcome slothfulness because it is us that are our biggest enemies. Moving on, as we, my brother and I, and any others that hung with us during those days and times, we would proceed down many alleys, going through garbage cans, collecting metal cans, glass, and newspaper. As in those days, there were recycling centers within the neighborhood. So technically, that was my first job / business. The paper route that I spoke about in a previous video called How I Became a Renaissance Man will be linked in the description. Check it out. Some gems were dropped in it. And I appreciate all you who watched and listened to that particular video. As I continue, we as youths also shoveled snow, raked leaves, and anything that put dollars in our young pockets then. I can honestly state that though the grind was mundane, stressful, when I participated in them, and I participated in entrepreneurship, it completed or started something within me that has made me the person who I am today. To date. Excuse me. In the sense of, I owe all of my successes now to what I did when I was younger. Hustling, cans and bottles and newspapers and just anything where somebody needed help and they paid for us to do it, we did it. Things appear harder when one has not done anything in areas, especially in new areas. When mentioning accomplishments, I speak of goals already achieved. There's always more to conquer. But in conquering them, it goes back to the title. You gotta go through it to get to it. There are no shortcuts. When one goes through it to get to it, it's best to only communicate with those who share your path, understand your journey, and will be instrumental in it. All others must view from the outside. Family and friends are included. In addition to those facts, one must develop a thick armor while in training for business and entrepreneurship, as there will be many detractors seeking to witness your failure, if applicable. See, we live in a society where others take pleasure in despair and looking to one-up the next person, though they're beneath you in those certain areas. No, this is not Rasta saying I'm above others, but fact is, if I'm on my business and another isn't, then I see myself in a better position, thus making me better by default. The best way to quiet hatefulness and any other negative connotations is to bury yourself into your work or purpose and allow your movements to brighten your star. And the thing about a star is, even when the sun is beaming, individual stars still shine. I appreciate the love and support by you being here when you could be any place in the atmosphere. For the new viewers, provide a subscription to get alerts to new videos. And if you got anything from the content, tap that like button, as it helps generate these videos to the suggested section here on YouTube. For my regulars, salute and tune in every week for the Friday Food series, and often for new video drops. All supporting links, contact info, as well as any supporting articles are in the description below. Let's make a better you and me while making history. I am Rasta Akilbo Mani for Rastas Realities. Peace to you.